Hello, I'm Brian, and welcome to Mead and More. So today, we are going to make a basic mead, a beginner mead. One of the things I want to do with this that I think is a little different out there is I want to introduce people to the concept of brewing, but show that you really don't need a whole bunch of specialty stuff. I think the only thing that I'm really going to use, that I really have that's going to be specialty, is going to be this packet of yeast. But if you really wanted to, you could use a bread yeast. This is Lalvin 71B, and I'll go ahead and include a link to it in the description down below. In case they're fairly inexpensive. I want to say a couple of bucks for one. Like, I think I got a 10-pack for about $10–12, so they're really not very expensive. In this, I'm going to make two different meads. One using a very basic with everything you have, or one very basic one with stuff you have just floating around the house, and another basic one using a couple of little more specialty things. I'm gonna, you'll see, but it's really not a lot different. So let's get to it. Alright, so I have a bucket of sterilizer sitting to the side here with what we're going to be using today. Just a regular 1-quart mason jar. Like I said, I'm going to be doing two of these, so I have a couple of each. And then all the things that go with the mason jar. We do have a rubber band in here, and there's that, and one bubbler. So I'm going to put the bubbler back in the mason jar for right now. And I'm going to go ahead and put the ring. So for this, because I wanted to do a test and make things the same, normally I do gallon meads. Most people won't suggest doing something this small because when you're doing something this small, it can take a long time to make a mead. So when you're doing something like this, there's a lot of time involved for not a lot of reward. But for me, the reward is there's a cost savings, and I just drilled the hole out on this, so it's a little tough to get in. There is a cost savings because you're not spending a lot of money. I'm going to go ahead and just drop that back in the... I'm going to drop all these back in. There's a cost savings because you're not spending a lot of money on equipment. I've seen other people who will do it in the 1 gallon of water. It's a personal thing. I always feel like I can taste the plastic when something's sitting in one of these for a long time. So I try not to do that. You can make a gallon batch with it. People do it all the time. What I have is 12 ounce, basically the little bear honeys that you can get at the store. So again, not a lot of cost. I'm going to be putting one of these in each of the jars. So we'll go ahead and this is unfiltered organic. I picked this up off of Amazon. So we're just going to pour that right in. Oh, look at that. I can set it just like that. Let's go ahead and get this next one. So basically I'm going to be using the 12 ounces of honey for a 1 quart jar. So again, really simple, super simple measurements for this. Try and make this as easy as we can. All right. So let's go ahead and set this guy off to the side for a minute. I'm going to pull this one over. He's been draining the longest. We're just going to get him onto our table. And hope we don't spill. I'm going to go ahead and pull it a little closer here to me. Just put a little over halfway, and that is only so I can get the last of the honey out of the jar. I want to get all 12 ounces that I can out of this jar. All right. Very nice. We'll go ahead and do the same thing with this fella. And some water. And he's a little over half. I'm not going for exact measurements on any of this because really all I'm using the water in this for is to get the last of the honey out. You can see just how much honey is still inside this guy just by how clear the plastic is here and how brown the plastic is here. For anybody who's curious, what I'm drinking is a mulled sizer that I brewed in December. Tastes pretty good. I may have left the mulling spices on just a little too long, but overall it tastes pretty good. One more just to get the last of the residue out. That's it. We're not going to waste a lot of time with that. Do one more with this just to get the last of the residue out of this little guy. There's not much in there, just getting a little foam. And it's just enough to tint the water. That's all that was left in there. Alright. Now the hard part's done. Now we're going to take it up to about here in both jars. Just right up to the shoulder. We want to leave some space in case there's any explosive growth, which can happen. So right about there. We'll take it to the same spot on both. And there. That looks pretty good to me. In here, I do have a couple of lids. With this, I'm just using this to fully shake up that mixture. You can see just how solid that layer of honey is at the bottom. If you just pulled your mixture out of the water, be careful here because, I mean, it's wet, it can be slippery, and you will be giving this an aggressive shake. So, and I don't know how well you'll be able to see that, but there is still honey stuck to the bottom here. So we do want to try and get that all as worked into the must as possible. Alright, so it looks like that is pretty good now. Let's go ahead and crack this fella open. Tastes like, or smells like honey water. There we go. Go ahead and do the same thing to this guy. I think I've got this guy all shook up now. Yeah, that looks pretty good. Let's go ahead and remove that lid. Just set it right there. So I have the Lalvin 71B now. And I'm just going to put about half in each of these. One of these is good for making 3 to 5 gallons. If you're going to do 5 gallons, I would definitely suggest 2. Felt the sneeze about to come on. Alright, so we have that in there. And now, like I said, super simple. We'll see how simple it is. Apparently I can't get the bag open. There we go. Of course, opens from the side, not from what I would deem to be the top or the bottom. So, what I'll do is I'll stretch this over and get it on top. For the balloon, we will take a needle and sterilize it. There we go. I'm going to go ahead and sterilize the old balloon as well. Alright. Now let's swirl this around for a minute. Alright. So I just swirled it around until the yeast was fully worked in. And I go ahead and do the same thing here. There we go. And I'm going to go ahead and just quick shake. There we go. Yeah, some of the yeast is stuck onto the sides here. Alright. Now the needle, sterilized needle and sterilized balloon. Just going to pop a couple of holes in here. This is merely to let gases escape. When it's deflated, it won't let any gases escape. So while this is fermenting, it will blow up the balloon. So now there we go. Put the last of that in there. Here's the hoping we don't spill anything. Alright, and now let's get this guy on there. Ooh! I thought that was going down for a minute there. I'm going to move you over there. And let's see if we can get it is very on there in some spots. And this is probably on there enough, but it's not where I want. I want to get it down to that rim. So these things have a tendency to be a lot more flexible than we give them credit for. There we go. So now that ring is locked under right there. When this starts to expand, the gases will release from up here. Now, so this is, for me, the quick, easy, inexpensive method. You don't need to worry about buying anything for sterilization. It's a canning jar. There's a canning lid. The balloons are fairly sterile in the packaging they come in. If you can sterilize, it's always a great idea. If you can't sterilize, this is a drink that has been made for centuries and was not sterilized for centuries. So, if you can't sterilize, that will definitely, it'll help prevent some off flavors. So, you can always sterilize the lid and the jar the old-fashioned way. Boiling water, drop it in a pot, get some tongs, take it out, let it cool, because you don't want any glass exploding on you, so let it cool. Once it's cool, go ahead and start the whole process. You can do some water, do the water honey mixture at that point in time. If you really wanted to, you could do a bread yeast in here, just to see how things go. So with this one, I added one other step. Is I had the ring already, and I just took one of the lids, went out, took my drill, drilled a hole right through there, and now we'll put that one on. I'm going to close this down. And then I have all my other goodies over here. So I'll just take my bubbler, add some still water to it, maybe add the right amount. There we go. So now we have sterile water. Alright. There we go. Drop you on. And go ahead. Put it right in. You don't need to cram it down, you just need to get it so that it sits. And now, we'll pop that on, and it's done. Alright, so now, what we will do is, we will keep an eye on these guys for the next week. Give them a shake every now and then, make sure everything's moving. Yeah. Hopefully we'll start getting some life. And yeah, I'll keep you guys updated with what's going on. And we'll be back here same time next week to see how everything's coming along. If you enjoyed this video, please give us a thumbs up and hit that subscribe button. It's a very new channel. It all helps out a lot. And we'll see you guys next week. Take care.